continue.
Hey, Madam Chair. Just sign in. We left off on exhibit 28.1. And again, this is from February 21st of this year, correct?
Correct.
The Emersons were not present. The vehicle was in essentially the same location, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 29.1. This is from February 22nd, correct?
Yes.
Same vehicle in the same location. The Emersons not at the playhouse, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 30.1, February 23rd. Vehicle, same location, Emerson's not at the house, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 31.1. Same thing here. This is from February 25th. Vehicle in the same location, Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 32.1, February 26th. Same location, Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Same for 28, exhibit 33.1, correct?
Correct.
Heading into March, this is exhibit 34.1. Vehicle, same location, different perspective here from the rear of it. But Emerson's not at the house, correct?
Correct.
March 2nd, back to that same location. Vehicle in the same location. Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
That was exhibit 35.1. Exhibit 36.1, this is from March 4th, same answers, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 37, this is from March 5th, same answers.
Yes.
Exhibit 38.1, this is from March 6th, same answers, vehicles in the same location. Emerson's not present at the house, correct?
Correct.
March 7th, exhibit 39.1. You have the same answers for this picture as well? Exhibit 40.1, this is from March 9th, same answers for this picture, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 41.1, from March 10th, same answers?
Yes.
March 11th, exhibit 42.1, same answers as before?
Yes.
Exhibit 43.1, from March 14th, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 44, from March 15th, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 45.1, from March 16th, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 46.1, this is from March 17th, same answers?
Yes.
Okay, 47.1, exhibit 47.1, this is from March 18th, correct?
Yes.
From a different perspective in that suburban is located in the same location, which is not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 48.1, this is from March 19th, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 49.1, this is from March 20th, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 50.1, this is from March 21st, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 51.1, March 22nd, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 52.1, March 23rd, correct?
Correct.
Same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 53, March 24th, same answers, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 54.1, this is March 25th, same answers?
Yes.
Exhibit 55.1, this is March 27th, same answers?
Yes.
Okay, March 5th, excuse me, this goes now to April, this is exhibit 56.1. This is dated April 15th, 2002, correct?
Yes.
So there's a bit of a gap there between the March 27th and the April 15th. Can you tell the board why that gap is?
I don't take pictures when Miss Emerson is at the lake.
In that time frame, was she at the lake during that entire time frame? Were you also on vacation for part of that? This would have been late March, early
Okay,
April.
I was on vacation.
Okay, so for this gap, this isn't related to her being present at the property, correct? This is related to you being on vacation.
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, was Mr. Hager taking pictures?
Yes.
Okay. We'll hear from him later. you returned and started taking pictures again on April 15th, correct?
Correct.
And that's exhibit 56.1, correct?
Correct.
You see the Suburban is slightly forward compared to, we'll just sort of compare that and that. Exhibit 54.1 is dated March 25th. So the nose of the Suburban is you can see the sign behind that, correct? Exhibit 54.1.
Correct. I took pictures, I think, until March 27th.
So when you come back, the nose of the Suburban is a little further up.
Yes.
Okay. It indicated someone would have been there for some period of time in between. Okay.
Correct.
So moving forward, exhibit 57. This is dated April 16th, correct?
Yes.
You see the nose of Suburban is in essentially the same place as it was on the 15th, right in front of that sign. You sort of see the sign sticking out above it. It's where the blue circle on this exhibit is. Is that fair?
Yes.
Exhibit 58.1, this is from April 17th, correct?
Correct.
Same location of the Suburban again, correct?
Yes.
Emerson do not have the property on this day.
Yes.
Exhibit 59.1, this is from April 18th, correct?
Yes.
Vehicles in the same location, Emerson's are not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 60.1, this is from April 19th, again, same vehicles in the same location, Emerson's are not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 61.1, this is from April 21st, correct?
Correct.
Same location of the vehicle, Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 62.1, April 22nd, correct?
Yes.
Same location of the vehicle, Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 63.1, this is from April 23rd. See the leaves start to come out here, compared to none during the winter, correct?
Correct.
You still see the vehicle in virtually the same location, correct?
Yes.
They're not at the house, correct?
They are not.
This one's a little harder. This is dated April 24th. Showing you here in a sort of a red laser. This is the Suburban at the top of that exhibit, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is it in the same location? Leaves are there, but is it in the same
It
location?
is in the same location.
Emerson's are not present, correct?
They are not.
That's exhibit 64. Exhibit 65.1, this is from April 25th, correct?
Yes.
Vehicles in the same location, Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 66.1, again, April 26th, vehicles same location, Emerson's are not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 67.1, this is from April 27th, correct?
Yes.
Vehicles in the same location, Emerson's are not present, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 68.1, this is from April 28th, correct?
Yes.
Vehicles same location,
Yes.
Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 69.1, this is from April 29th this year, correct?
Yes.
Vehicle same location, Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 70.1, this is from April 30th, correct?
Yes.
Vehicle same location, Emerson's not present.
Yes.
Exhibit 71, it's a little further zoomed out, we've got more leads at this point, but this is dated May 2nd. Vehicle's still there, and Emerson's are not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit, and this is just misnumbering, but it's exhibit A71. Again, this is dated May 4th, correct?
Yes.
And exhibits essentially, excuse me, the vehicles in the same location, and Emerson's are not present, correct?
Correct.
And I promise the board we're coming close to an end, at least on the photos. Exhibit 72, this is from May 5th, correct?
Yes.
A little further down, but the vehicle is in substantially the same location, correct?
Yes.
Emerson's present that day.
They were not.
Exhibit 73.1, dated May 7th, correct?
Yes,
Vehicle, same location, Emerson was not present, correct?
correct.
Exhibit 74.1, this is dated May 8th, and the same answers.
Yes,
Exhibit 75.1, this is May 9th. Vehicles in the same location, Emerson's not present, correct?
that is correct.
76.1 exhibit, May 10th. Vehicles, same location, Emerson's not present, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 77.1, May 11th, same answers?
Yes.
Okay. After the 11th, were you preparing your challenge at that point? Working to file the voter registration challenge with the board in the May timeframe?
During May?
Yeah, before it was filed in June?
Oh, yes, I was.
Okay. So you essentially stopped taking pictures at this point, leading up to that?
I think I still need to go by. and
Right.
observe.
You go by and observe, but you weren't taking pictures?
Yes.
Okay. One of the things I'd like to ask you about next, at this point, I'll ask you in total between exhibits 2 through 77, were those all fair and accurate representations of the home on the date that you took each of those photos?
Yes,
And you took each of those photos?
I did.
And on those dates, the Emersons were not present at the house at any portion of the day?
They were not. I would sometimes take pictures in the morning or sometimes in the afternoon.
Okay. You weren't trying to just pick, you weren't cherry picking the time, you were taking them throughout the day depending on when you were around, correct? We asked these be admitted into evidence, Madam Chair.
Objections? Admitted.
Part of your review of other records that were publicly available, did you look at where the Emersons were having their tax bills for the Lake House Center?
Yes, I did my research
And
on property taxes.
were you able to pull those off of the Graham County Tax Assessor's website?
Yes, sir.
Is what is marked as Exhibit 112 here, 112, 1.1 through 26. Are these tax bills that are able to pull off that website?
Yes, I can't see the date there, okay, 2016.
Okay, so this is the 2016 bill. Where are the Emersons having their tax bills sent?
They're sent to 641 Swancroft Lane, Matthews, North Carolina.
In 112.2, what about for this bill? What year is this for?
2017, and their tax bill is going to 641 Swancroft Lane, Matthews, North Carolina.
Same address.
Same address.
For 2018, where are they having that?
2018, the address is their Swancroft Lane, Matthews home.
What about 2019?
2019, same address of the Swancroft Lane, Matthews home.
What about 2020?
2020 is the Swancroft Lane, Matthews, North Carolina home.
These are in your binders as well. Members of the board. What about for 2021, the year that Ms. Emerson claims to have changed her residency to Graham County? Where is she having her tax bill sent?
2021, the tax bill is sent to Swancroft Lane address in Matthews.
It's not in the packet before, but did you happen to look at where the 2022 bill was sent this year?
Yes.
Where was it sent?
It is sent to the same address in Matthews at their own record.
So even though she claims to have changed her residence to Graham County, she's still, even a year later, having her tax bill sent to Matthews, North Carolina.
Yes.
Madam Chair, we ask this be admitted to 112. Did you look into this Matthews, North Carolina location?
Yes, I've Googled.
Were you able to pull the tax bills for that location?
Yes, I was.
And you got these off of the tax assessor's website, is that correct?
Yes. For Mecklenburg County.
Mecklenburg County. I'm showing you exhibit 114. This is, we'll blow these up too. This is for what tax year?
This is for 2011.
And
So
where,
that's a due date.
so this is the, look in the location here. The location of the property. Where's, and that's the Matthews location, same property where she's having her lake house bill sent to, correct?
Yes, it is.
And for that property, where does she want her tax bill sent?
To the Swancroft Lane, Matthews, North Carolina.
She's having tax bills again for that property sent to the same location. This is exhibit 115. What year is this?
2012.
Same addresses?
Yes, it is.
Exhibit 116, what year are we dealing with here?
This is 2013, and addresses are the same.
Exhibit 117, which year is this?
This is 2014,
Same addresses?
same addresses.
Exhibit 118, what year is this?
2015, and Swancroft, Matthews address.
Exhibit 119, which year is this one?
2016, and addresses are in Matthews.
So she obviously owned this property and paying taxes on it before she owned the
If she
house in
bought,
Lake Santeetlah,
I
correct?
believe she bought the property in Lake Santeetlah in 2014.
So, exhibit 120, this year, what year are we dealing with here?
That 2017,
Okay.
yes.
She's sending that where? Same address as
Same
that?
address in Matthews.
Exhibit 121, this is from 2018?
Yes, sir.
Same address as in that?
Same address in Matthews.
2019. This is exhibit 122. 2019 bill, same address as in Matthews?
To Matthews.
Exhibit 123, what year is this from?
2020,
Same address again?
address is to Matthews address.
Exhibit 124, what year is this?
2021,
Year she claims to have changed her residence to Lake Santeetlah, correct?
correct,
What address is she having the tax bill sent to for Matthews property?
to the Swancroft Lane, Matthews, North Carolina home.
Did you happen to look at where Mecklenburg County is sending them for this year?
Yes, sir.
Still sending them to Matthews, North Carolina?
Yes,
Year after she says that she changed her residence, correct?
correct.
Madam Chair, we ask that exhibits 114 through 124 be admitted. What about information that the Emersons would have directly provided about their residence? They obviously, we have the tax bills we just talked about. Have they ever provided, does the town have any directories?
Yes, the town publishes a homeowners directory.
Okay. I'm showing you what's marked as Exhibit 113. What is this?
This is the directory from 2021, and the homeowners provide the information to be published in the directory.
Okay. Where are the Emerson indicated their contact?
Their mailing address is the Swan Cross Lane, Matthews, North Carolina address.
Okay. And even on this, other people on this page on 113, you've got the Garlands, which are sending to a P.O. box in Robbinsville, right?
Yes,
So throughout the directory, people who are full-time residents, will they list a local address as their residential address?
yes,
Okay. And other folks are listing their addresses in different parts of the country. I guess we've got Decatur, Georgia for the Foskets, correct?
yes,
Roswell, Georgia for the Gatewoods, correct?
yes,
Okay. Again, this is all provided by the residents for the directory.
yes.
I'd ask that this be admitted, Madam Chair. Ms. Simon, I'm showing you what's marked as Exhibit 127. Can you tell us what this is?
This is the recently published.
So for 2022 and 2023,
Yes,
where are the Emersons indicated there?
they have indicated the mailing address. This is Swan Cross Lane, Matthews, North Carolina.
Ask that this be admitted, Madam Chair. For both exhibits, 113 and 127, there, you get this directory as a resident of the town, correct?
That is correct.
Did you ever try to identify whether the Emersons, Miss Emerson in particular, owned other properties?
Yes,
Okay.
I had found that they owned property in Virginia, and then I discovered that they, through my research, that they owned property in Fernandina Beach, Florida.
Okay. And I'm going to go back for a second just to remind the board. Again, Miss Emerson, correct, this is Exhibit 1. She submitted her registration change on September 28, 2001, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And I want to pull up through where you said that you found a Florida property. Can you describe what's marked as Exhibit 176?
and this is a warranty deed
Okay, is this for that Florida property
for
that
the
you
Florida
found?
property.
Okay. And calling out on the first page here, what's that date?
October 1st, 2021.
So Ms. Emerson submits her registration on the 28th of last year, claiming to be a resident of Lake Santeetlah. 3 days later, where does she indicate her post office address is on a deed in Florida?
641 Swancroft Lane, Matthews, North Carolina.
Not the Santeetlah house.
Not the Santeetlah house.
We'd ask that this be admitted into evidence, Madam Chair. What is, in exhibit, I'll go to the front here, is this the deed of trust for that property that you found?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And this is exhibit 175.
Yes,
Borrowers are listed as John Emerson and Tina Emerson, correct?
yes,
Going to, this is exhibit 175. This is the deed of trust. Blown up a portion of that. What are the dates indicated on the witness signatures there?
September 30th, 2021.
And where are the Emersons indicated their mailing address?
Their borrower's mailing address is 641 Swancroft Lane,
2 days after saying she lives in Graham County, she's telling her bank in a deed of trust she wants to get mail in Matthews, North Carolina, correct?
Yes.
Ask this be admitted into evidence. Madam Chair.
I beg your pardon.
Sorry, I asked this be admitted into evidence.
Indeed.
Were you able to find any information on the tax assessor's webpage for that, for Nassau County?
Yes, I did.
You identify what's in Exhibit 174 up on the screen.
This is the website, online tax property information.
I'm blowing up the
Nassau.
section here. It says property information, correct?
Yes,
Location address is the address for that home, correct?
the mailing address, location is for Indiana Beach.
And where are they having their tax information for this house then?
Property information is being sent to 641 Swan Park Lane, Matthews, North Carolina.
So again, like the Lake House, Florida House is sending important documents back to Charlotte, back to Matthews, correct?
That is correct.
We ask that this be admitted, Madam Chair.
Indeed.
I'd like to move on to a different subject at this point. You indicated that you're on the town council,
Yes,
and Ms. Emerson is also on town council.
yes,
That was one of the outcomes of the election from last fall, correct?
correct.
And how have y'all been handling your meetings from essentially December of last year through August of this year?
We've been having meetings by Zoom.
And you were doing that under the emergency authorization put in place by the governor for
Yes,
town boards and county commissions to be that way, correct?
correct.
Okay. During those meetings, did you check when Ms. Emerson was in Santeetlah attending the meetings via Zoom versus outside of the town?
Yes,
Okay. How many times, or how many meetings in total did y'all have via Zoom interface? Whether that was a council meeting or a special
Well,
meeting
we
or a
were-
hearing or a budget planning meeting? How many total?
oh gosh, I don't really recall the total.
Well, let me ask you maybe another
About
question. Go ahead.
15 meetings, including budget meetings,
Okay.
council meetings.
How many of
Okay.
How many of those did she attend when you knew she was also in town?
She attended 4
Okay.
council meetings from her Lake Santeetlah.
And from I guess you said there were 14 or 15 other meetings, or excuse me, 10 or 11 other meetings?
There were 10 meetings that she attended from other locations. And then the September 2022 meeting was an in-person meeting at Town Hall.
Okay, when you say that she was attending from other locations, how do you know that?
No, just from knowing what her background of the Zoom meetings.
Okay.
I
Were you also
don't know.
aware if the car was present there during the meetings before or after?
Well, yes, I would know if she was in Lake Santeetlah.
Did you ever take any screenshots of those meetings when she wasn't in Santeetlah?
Yes,
Was exhibit marked as exhibit 109. Can you tell us what that is?
that is, I don't exactly know the date, but this is Miss Emerson, and she was zooming from Florida, her home in Florida.
And what's in exhibit 110?
That is another meeting. We had 3 meetings that she zoomed from Florida.
Okay. I'd ask that these be admitted and evidence, Madam Chair.
Well, those were actually 3 meetings in April. She did also Zoom June 9th from the Florida property.
So moving on. This isn't the first time. Last one, what I'm referring to is last September when she changed her voter registration and claimed to be a resident of Graham County. That's not the first time she's done that, right?
That is correct.
Okay, did you look at the voter history for Ms. Emerson as part of your review?
Yes, I did. I pulled that from the North Carolina Board of Elections website.
Okay. Now I'm showing you with Martha's Exhibit 224. Is this that history that's on the State Board's website?
Yes.
Okay. And when you scroll to 224.3, what's highlighted there?
She changed her registration from Mecklenburg County to Graham County for the November 2017 municipal election.
I see you're squinting there. Let me help maybe everybody out there. Does that help?
November 7th,
Okay.
2017 municipal election. And then she changed her registration back in 2018 Mecklenburg.
Let's look at the whole thing. Looking at Exhibit 22.4. First entry here is from voting in person in Mecklenburg County on November 2nd, 2004, correct?
Correct.
So she claimed to reside in Mecklenburg County and voting in Mecklenburg County from 2004 all the way through 2016, correct?
Correct.
Then she, in 2017, switches her voter registration to Graham County to vote in the municipal election.
Yes. Town council election.
And then the very next year, she switches it back to Mecklenburg County.
Yes.
And then votes in Mecklenburg County, again, from 2018 all the way through 2020, correct?
Correct.
And to be clear here, we're not talking in one election, we're talking in the general in 2018, 2 primaries in 2019, 3 primaries in 2019, and the general election in 2019, and the primary in 2020,
Yes.
and the general in 2020.
Yes.
7 different times.
Yes.
And then changes her registration in September 2021 to Graham County.
Yes.
So I'd like to talk next about the mailing.
You want that into the evidence?
Oh, yes, please. Madam Chair, I'll ask that Exhibit 224 be admitted into evidence. Did you ever, as part of your work, I guess on the town council, send a public records request to Ms. Emerson?
Yes, I did.
Did you send that request by certified mail?
I did.
Where did you send it?
I sent 2. I sent one to the address in Matthews. This was on March 25th. And one to the Lake Santeetlah address. On March 28th, the Matthews certified mail was signed for. I don't know what individual, but it was signed for. I sent the mail on Friday, and they received it on Monday.
Okay. So this is Exhibit 107. Is this the electronic notification you received telling you that your request sent to the Matthews address was delivered?
Yes.
Where else did you send the request?
I also sent a copy to the 124 Santeetlah Trail address.
Now, I have it marked,
Santeetlah.
so the 124 address that she she indicates is her residence on her voter registration change, correct?
Yes.
I've got these marked in electronic form, but so the board is aware, we have the originals here as well. What are these two slips that I'm handing you?
These are the certified mail receipts for March 25th, 2020. This one is for Matthews, North Carolina address, and then also the same dates. I have one for Robbinsville.
Are those the same two that we see depicted in Exhibit 108
Yes,
electronic?
it is.
Okay. And what is this that I'm handing you?
This is the return mail from Santeetlah.
And that return mail, is it open?
No, it's not.
Have you changed this in any way?
No.
Okay. This was what was sent back to you by the post office as undeliverable?
Yes.
Okay. Because the Emersons don't live there?
Yes.
Okay. We ask that Exhibit 108 be admitted into evidence. Madam Chair?
Admitted.
If I can take those. If I may approach, where would you like these originals kept? I can keep them with the pen in the court reporter. You probably can't like that, do that. Or I can hand them to you, Madam Chair.
You can hand them to me and we'll have to put them in the safe in the election board office.
Okay, may I approach, please?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I also asked that Exhibit 107 be admitted.
Admitted.
I want to talk a little about this. It sounds strange, but it's related to the production that was given by the town related to water bills. So, do you keep your water bills?
I do.
Okay. And I'm showing you what's marked as Exhibit 207. What is that?
That is my water bill, and this is from, the date of the bill is September 27th, 2021, and we do a quarterly billing, and so this bill is from June 17th, 2021 through September 27th, 2021. And my usage for water at my home, where there are only two persons, my husband and I, is 6,863 gallons
For that quarter.
for that quarter.
If I may, what's an Exhibit 208 that I'm showing you now?
This is dated December 17, 2021, and it is usage from September 27, 2021 through December 17, 2021. And our usage is 5,138 gallons.
Two people
Two persons.
living in the house, correct?
And yes,
No special guests or anything like that as
No.
usual, correct?
correct.
Okay, this is the next quarter bill, correct? Okay, what is Exhibit 209?
This is March 29th, 2022. It shows meter information from December 17, 2021 through March 29th, 2022. And our consumption is 4,547 gallons.
Okay, and Exhibit 210, what do we see here?
Okay, this is dated June 15th, 2022. Service from March 29th, 2022 through June 15th, 2022. And our consumption is 5,932 gallons.
Madam Chair, we ask that Exhibits 207 through 210 be admitted.
Yes, sir.
Now, the town of Lake Santeetlah was subpoenaed to produce the water records for the Emerson. Were you aware of that?
Yes,
Did you review those records that were provided by the town?
yes.
Okay. I'd like to show a comparison of those two.
I'm sorry, I have to object. We objected to the subpoena, and according to Rule 45,
So if I may respond just briefly. So one of the North Carolina Rules of Civil Procedure, third parties are not allowed to object to subpoenas sent to other parties. So the objection to try and keep out the Santeetlah bills of their property is not a merit-based objection. The town also voluntarily, well, I wouldn't say voluntarily, subject to the subpoena, produced it. So you're allowed to look at this, you're allowed to use it, and that's what we intend on doing now. We ask that the objection be overruled.
oh, I'm sorry, Matt, one comment. The town submitted under objection.
It is overruled. And at this point in time, we're going to take a lunch break. Call this meeting back to order. I call this meeting back to order. Mr. Lenore, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And remind the witness that she's still sworn.
Okay. We're going to pick off where we were talking last. I had asked you about the town producing utility records related to Emerson's Lake House. And we were about to talk about this. Did you review the utility bills the town produced to the board?
Yes,
It's right up here, exhibit 229, 230, 231, 232, 233, 234, all the way to 240. So 229 to 240. Is this the production from the town? Do you understand it?
yes,
We asked that production be admitted as evidence. Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I would like to object again on the subpoena. Based on Rule 45, which the subpoenas were issued under, we were given the subpoena along with the town of Santeetlah and other utility companies with the third page, section 3. But under Rule 45, form is number 1A. It says, every subpoena shall state all of the following: the title of the action, the
I'll
name
object,
of
Madam
the court
Chair.
in which the action is pending.
If I
There was no
may, you already
court
ruled
action.
on this before we left, and you overruled the objection, so I think the objection, again, is proper. You've already made your decision, and we can move forward.
The objection is noted.
Thank you.
And we'll exhibit 229 to 240 be admitted into the record. Correct, John? Correct, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Simon, I wanted to compare, again, you said your testimony is that you and your husband, two people residing at the property, you've seen your utility bills. What I'm going to do is scrub up the bills that you have in relationship to the bills that were produced for the Emersons, who also claim to reside at their homes. So let's sort of start here with your bill from September. We have actually your bill on the left here.
the rest of the
Right there. I think that's your bill, 207, correct?
yes,
Okay. And then we compare that same time period. This is exhibit 237. It's from the town of Lake Santeetlah. So in the period from June 17, 2021 to September 27, 2021, your usage was 6,862 gallons, correct?
correct,
During that same time period, their usage was 424.
yes,
than 10%. Or put another way, you used over 90% more water during that same time period. 2 people living in a house, much as we claim for the Emerson residents.
And this is for 3 months.
Let's look at the next one. This is yours from the December bill. Exhibits 208 compared to Exhibit 238. Your usage is 5,138 gallons, correct?
Yes,
Emerson's usage is 661.
yes,
This would be after. In fact, the registration date was 9/28, as I recall, correct?
yes,
So after claiming that she's now a resident of the town, consumption's still under 661 gallons, correct?
correct.
Your March bill compared to their March bill. Here, your usage is 4,547 gallons, correct?
Yes,
Theirs is 376.
yes,
And then lastly, your June bill, let's get your June bill here, it's at 210. Compared to their June bill, your usage is 5,932.
yes,
Theirs is 1,265.
yes.
Sort of illustrate this in a different way. If I put your usage up there correctly, if you look at the top of this Excel document.
Yes.
These are each of those 4 bills in September, December, March, January, correct? Or
Yes.
January, I should say. And the Emerson's usage is at that far corner under the columns of Emerson usage.
Yes,
During the same, your average quarterly usage for your home is 5,620, sort of a vary out. You didn't have one quarter that was more than the other, correct?
correct,
Their average usage is 681 gallons, correct?
correct,
They use 88% less water than the same that you do at your home, correct?
correct.
Just a couple more questions here. I believe you testified that you looked into the Register of Deeds in Graham County to look at the deeds of trust that have been filed on the Lake Santeetlah Lake House, correct?
Yes,
One second, I'll pull that up. Exhibit 111, is this the warranty deed for the Santeetlah Lake House that you found on the Register of Deeds website?
yes,
Okay. Yes, that this be admitted, Madam Chair. And exhibit 125 here, this a deed of trust from 2014 on that same Santeetlah Lake House property.
yes,
Yes, this be admitted, Madam Chair.
Admitted.
And then exhibit 126, look at the front page here, is this a deed of trust on that same property from 2017?
yes,
You got these off the Register of Deeds website, correct?
yes,
Okay. Yes, if that be admitted, Madam Chair.
Admitted.
And then, same for the Matthews property, did you pull those similar, same documents for the Matthews property as well, for Mecklenburg County Register of Deeds?
Yes.
Showing you what the markers did, 241, this is the warranty deed, for the Matthews property.
Yes,
You get this off the register of deeds website from Mecklenburg County.
yes, I did.
Yes, this be admitted into the record.
Admitted.
Is this showing with the mark as exhibit 242? Is this a deed of trust related to that Matthews property?
Yes,
Yes, that this be admitted into the record. Madam Chair.
Admitted.
Sort of summarize the testimony. You started taking pictures of when the Emersons were and weren't at the property starting in November of last year, correct?
yes,
Between that time of November 2021 and when you filed the challenge, did the Emersons spend more than half their time away from the Lake Santeetlah house?
yes,
When you are in Graham County and come into town to Robbinsville, how often do you see them at the grocery store, gas station, anything like that?
I've never seen them at the gas station or the grocery store.
When you came in this morning and you saw the gentleman at that table over there in the gray suit, were you able to identify who that was?
I asked if they had an attorney. I've never seen John in a suit. I usually know it's him when I recognize the dog.
You weren't able to recognize that that was John
So you
Emerson?
know who I am?
Now I do.
Okay.
You weren't able to recognize that that was John Emerson until someone told you it was?
Yes, that's true.
Those would be my questions from this side.
Ms. Emerson, you now have the right to question the witness.
Can you hear me up there?
If you could speak louder, that would be helpful.
I probably have to swallow this thing in. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay. I do have some questions.
Go ahead.
Mr. Dorn, could you put up, I believe it was slide 2 when you first started presenting?
I don't have slides.
Oh, whatever was the first exhibit now. Whatever the second item was that you put up on your,
I think I'm not trying to be obscure, but I don't know what you're referring to. You have exhibit number or something?
okay. I'll come back to that, thank you. First question. Okay, Diane, when you took pictures of the house with the old truck in the driveway, what address were you taking pictures of?
124 Santeetlah Trail.
Do you know who owns that house?
The Emersons,
John and Tina Emerson?
yes,
Do you know who John and Tina Emerson are?
yes.
Excuse me one moment. Diana, pull that microphone down so they can hear you. Thank you.
Do you believe that Tina and John are over the 18 years old?
Yes,
Do you have any knowledge that Tina and John Emerson are convicted felons?
I have no knowledge.
Do you believe that John and Tina are U.S. citizens?
I have no knowledge.
Based on this information, how can you file a voter challenge form knowing that the address listed on the voter registration form is a valid address, it's not fraudulent, that the voters are who they say they are, you've just admitted that, they know who we are, that we are not felons, I can attest to that, that we are over the age of 18 and U.S. citizens.
If I can, for the record, I would.
Excuse me, one moment. We can't hear you well. Tina, does that mic have a feel for you? Think
Or
it's
you
here.
could just speak up a little more into the mic.
We cannot hear
Oh, you
you,
can't hear me.
so we don't even know what the.
If I hold it down here, can you hear me?
No.
No.
Can we try another mic?
Can you read up your list?
Just let Vicky help us with this other. That one
Test.
should have a flip.
See if this one works any better.
Can you hear me better with this one?
You still have to try to talk.
I do
Still
talk.
have to try this mic.
I feel like I'm
I
yelling.
mean, I'll turn it up and
I don't,
You turn it up in the sound room?
yeah.
You can. I don't know which one it is.
I think I should speak something else here.
The first one.
If you, I think if you speak up a little bit, I think
You
we
can
can
hear
hear
me
you.
better?
Miss Emerson, is there a number on that little?
This one is 4 and this one's 2.
I would increase to my word.
Miss Emerson, please speak in the forward.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Please.
Oh, there we go. Now can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, that's much better, yep.
Well, wait, just a minute. I believe you have an objection.
I had an objection, but I also heard that the board didn't hear the question, so.
Well, let's go back to her question. Okay, Ms. Emerson.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? Now?
Yes.
Okay. I was asking for Diane to affirm that she knew that the address of 124 Santeetlah is a true address, that there's a home there, that it's a 124 is a house, it's not a fraudulent address, that she knows that John and I are real people, we are who we say we are, and that she sees us here today. She believes that we're over 18, that we are not convicted felons, and she believes that we are U.S. citizens. That was my questioning, and she confirmed all of those. Is that correct, Diane?
Couple
I'm
of
not
no,
aware
wait,
if you're
wait,
felon.
wait,
Hold on a minute.
wait.
Fine.
Let me say my objection before you give an answer. So, an object on the grounds it's a compound question with multiple parts to it. I also object on the fact that her testimony was that she had no knowledge about their felony status or being U.S. citizens, so it mischaracterizes the testimony that she previously gave, and I asked that the question be stricken.
And I do sustain that objection so far due to the fact that it was a compound question, and she did answer it.
Okay.
Okay?
Another question then would be, on the voter challenge, did you challenge that you believe us to be a convicted felon?
I don't have that document.
Object on best evidence, and this challenge form says what it says. The board can read that.
Overruled. Go ahead.
My line of questioning is to ask, based on numbered memo 2018-07, that being residents of the town of Lake Santeetlah, that you cannot challenge that. It says so in the forms, and so one of the other options for her to challenge, she did not challenge. She did not challenge that we are a felon, that we're dead, that we're under 18, or that we're not U.S. citizens. That is my question there. But going on, Diane, since 2000 and 2021, how many times have you been away from your residence?
Probably. I don't know for sure.
Were any of those times outside of the United States?
Yes,
Do you or have you in the last 3 years advertised your home on a home exchange website?
I do a home exchange
How often do you do the home exchange?
periodically.
Do you think that any of these answers or questions would open you up to a voter registry
object to this.
challenge based on
This
these
is no
answers.
relevancy to the matter before the board about Ms. Emerson's residency.
It's sustained.
You stated earlier that there were 11 people, when you looked at the voter rolls, who you did not know that, or who you knew, you claim, that did not reside in the town of Lake Santeetlah. Why did you file a challenge for only 8 people?
I decided to just challenge 8 people.
If you went by our home only once per day, how do you know if we were at that home at other times of the day that you did not go by there?
I object to the mischaracterization of her testimony. She did not testify that she only went by once per day.
Overruled. Go ahead, Ms. Emerson. Answer the question, Ms. Simon.
I might have gone by the house twice a day.
Did you
I
ever
walk by the house, I drive by the house.
when you walked by or drove by the house and you believe that we were there, did you ever take a picture?
Yes,
And, let's see, sorry, I'm losing my place here on my notes. That's right, yes, did you show that picture today?
no,
Is it in any of the exhibits?
no,
So your pictures are selective.
I took pictures when you were not there.
Okay. If you look at exhibit 18.1 and 19.1, bring those up. Mr. Norm, could you bring those up on your screen? Thank you. What do you notice about this picture?
It's a picture of your house.
Do you notice any tire tracks coming in or going out of our driveway?
Yes,
If you look at picture 19.1, do you notice the Suburban is not there?
it was a different angle.
Okay, you don't have a picture of it. Do you notice anything else on the road?
Tire tracks, people turn around in your driveway.
Okay, it looks like the tire tracks are definitely coming straight out of the driveway and going up the road.
Object to testifying instead of asking questions.
Overruled.
During the time that you took the pictures of our house in March, did you know that John and I were not at home?
I don't have that information in front of me.
Ms. Simons, I hate to interrupt you, but please keep your face towards the microphone.
I don't have anything to reference that with right now.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
In March,
Hold on a minute. Tammy, could you repeat that question for her, please?
I asked, during the time that you took the pictures of our house in March, did you know that John and I were not at home?
but I have a moment to look at my calendar.
I can refresh your memory. You stated earlier that a few times that during the Zoom meetings that we were in a different house that you supposed was our Florida house. Did you know where we were at that time? And you went by our house because you knew that we were not there and that you knew we were in a different house?
I don't know that you zoomed in March. I indicated that you zoomed from Florida in April. I know we had an A1A meeting on the 9th, and on the 10th, and you were not in Lake Santeetlah.
Do you know if people are allowed to leave their home?
Perhaps.
Okay. Do you know if all residents in the town of Lake Santeetlah have to get your permission to leave their home?
I will object to that in the witness. This is not relevant either.
It's relevant that the fact that we're being accused of not being at a home in a certain moment of time. So for the 3 or 5 seconds that Diane has driven by our home, she's taken a picture to try and prove that we're not there. So that's what the relevance of the question, without doing this to other people in the town. Do you know have you read North Carolina General Statutes 163-57C?
Yes.
Do you know, could you tell me what it says?
I do not have that in front of me. But I'm sure everyone here has a copy of that.
I can give that to you here. Could you please read? This is 163-57. 1, Section C.
I can see a copy of
And this is the last sentence, please. In number C.
In order to look at that, please, before you answer back to Ms. Simon.
Just note for the record, there's no indication of date on this, so there's no telling this is the current version of that statute. So I don't know that it claims what it supposedly is. But this is the current version of the statute. But
I printed that out last
Let's
night.
see what, if it is current.
what was the citation?
It's 157, 163-57C, the last sentence in that paragraph.
See? The last sentence.
Let's grab it from the book here.
In the event that a person's residence is not a traditional residence associated with real property, then the location of, that's C.
Last sentence.
Residence shall be broadly construed to provide all persons with the opportunity to register to vote, including stating a mailing address that's different from the residence address. That seems to be out of context since it's not the
That's-
full paragraph.
I just asked
I
you.
asked that she not interrupt the witness when she's giving her answer.
The answer was, the question was to please read that. Under one of
Please,
these,
excuse me one moment. Please just answer the question. Ms. Simons. when she is-
I read the last sentence.
Yes, ma'am. I know you did, but Donnie Belch, please just answer the question. And Ms. Emerson, please just ask questions. You will have a chance at the end to give your side of this way. Just ask your questions. Go ahead.
did you notice on one of the warranty deeds, it specifically states a P.O. box as a mailing address?
I'll object to vagueness. It says one of the warranty deeds. We don't know which one we're talking about here.
Stone, do you have, do you know which deed it is, Ms. Emerson?
I believe it was the Florida deed.
Would you like that?
It states that, it specifically states a P.O. box as our 641 Swancroft Lane address. I'll move on. Diane, have you ever been in any of our houses?
No,
Have you ever been inside of our house here at the lake?
no,
Have you ever been on our property?
No,
Do you have a copy of our signature showing that we signed for the mail that you said you sent us?
no,
In the preliminary hearing, did you say that you have our signature?
no,
Um, Earlier, you stated that you believe we do not live here full-time. Could you please tell me where in the North Carolina General Statutes it states full-time is required?
I don't have that statute.
Could you please define full-time?
Someone who actually has their domicile where they claim to live.
And who is the person that is the one who can say where they claim to live? Who determines that? Who determines where you can claim you live?
Well, I guess you claim you live one place where you don't live.
Does anyone else have that right to claim that I live somewhere?
I'm sure the Board of Elections will say that.
Do you have indoor houseplants?
Yes,
When you travel for extended periods of time, who takes care of your plants?
my neighbor.
Just a few minutes ago, it was stated when our water bill was being shown that two people, quote unquote, two people residing at their property concerning our water bills. Do you believe the two people reside at our property?
No,
But even though it was stated that earlier, within half an hour ago.
Object to mischaracterization of the question that was asked.
Overruled.
Do you, on your, do you lease or lend or home exchange the bottom part of your house?
I stated I do a home exchange.
In the home exchange, a certain part of your house? Or is it the entire house?
It just depends.
Is it the bottom or the lower section of your house, and you were also able to stay at the upper section of your home?
I have a guest bedroom downstairs.
When people who are in your house, who lease it, borrow it, or home exchange your home, do they use water? Is there a shower there, a toilet, a sink?
Yes, there is.
Do you have a separate water line that goes into that part of the house?
No, I don't.
Do you know or believe that you must own a home to register to vote?
No,
Do you know or believe that you must rent a house or a condo to register to vote?
no,
Do you know a homeless person, a person without owning a home, renting a house, paying water bills, is allowed to vote?
yes.
That's all I have.
I just have a,
The board is concerned about the opportunity to ask questions of the witness. Please stay on the witness stand and sign. We'll get it in the same time.
just keep that for a second.
Okay.
Does the board have questions?
I just have a real simple one. On 18-1, where it shows the suburban move, who actually moved the suburban? Because in all the other pictures, it was off to the side or to the back, and then all of a sudden it was just in this one place.
On January 6th, Tina Emerson was here, and then she left. She had a dog she had to take care of. She returned again on the 11th, and then she left again. She was not here for the town council meeting on the 13th.
During a preliminary hearing, when you were showing these abundance sort of pictures here, I asked you what time of day you went by. You said, to the best of my recollection, you said noon is when you went by. Today, you were asked about the pictures again, and you said that you took them different times throughout the day. Now, so which is it? Was it what you
Okay.
said originally or what you
I
said
don't
today?
recall saying that it was noon. I usually walk in the morning, so it may be at 10 o'clock in the morning, or if I go to the grocery store and drive back around, it might be in the afternoon. So there's not a specific time. I think you were asking that question, see, as to whether
Yeah, it was
someone's
during a
there
set
in the
time
morning
every
or after.
day that you did it, because a lot of people were gone at certain times from the day.
No,
So you did take them throughout the day, it's not just a set time that you
no,
had these pictures.
it was.
All right.
I wanted to ask a couple of questions, Ms. Simon. When you say you observed during the day, was it a time frame of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., was it a time frame of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 8 p.m.? Can you give us better leeway on the time frames that you observed?
As I mentioned, I'll go for a walk, so that might be between 9 and 10. And then other times, if I'm just driving out for business and come back, I'll check to see if they're there.
And is it your supposition that the Suburban's their only vehicle?
No. They have 6 vehicles registered. The Suburban is the only one that stays at that location.
That is, they're permanently here staying?
It is there permanently. Tina drives the white Volvo, and John drives the black Suburban. And those are the vehicles I would see there.
You also stated in your testimony earlier this morning that they never lived there. And then you mentioned she attended meetings when she was in town. When you say lived there,
She's
are you
not,
stating she never spent the night there ever? Or what are you stating when you say they never lived there?
I'm stating that they are not full-time residents.
Do you believe you have to be a full-time resident at all times to get able to register and vote?
It's required for our municipality and to run for office that you must be a resident of our municipality.
A resident and full-time resident is two separate things. That's not what I asked you. I asked you, do you believe that you have to be a full-time resident, meaning you have to stay there permanently all the time before you can register and vote? Is that
I'm sorry, that is not what I mean by full-time.
okay? What do you mean by that?
I mean that is their domicile. That is where they live, that is where they come back to, that is where their pets live.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, I think that brought up another one in my mind. In order to be a full-time resident, you're saying they have to stay there at night, correct, every night?
Not
If
every
I'm
night,
hearing you right.
forever, they could travel, but a full-time resident would be someone who claims they live there, that they get their income taxes done in Robbinsville, Lake Santeetlah, that they use that address.
Chair, can I read your act?
Yes.
Okay.
Follow me.
There's been some questions about what you mean by full-time residence. What I'm hearing you say is that when you say full-time resident, what you mean by that is residence, domicile, as defined by the board's attorney at the beginning of the hearing and as was put on the screen. That's when you say full-time resident, you mean the statutory definition of residence. Is that what you're trying to communicate to the board?
Yes,
Are you trying to communicate that they have to sleep there every night?
no,
Okay. What you're saying is they're not a resident of the town, as defined by statute, correct?
correct.
So,
Uh,
so can I, you clarified that for me, can I finish the questions that so this is what I'm asking you. He clarified what we're talking about in the statutes. Are you still under the impression that you can't work somewhere else and return here, or it be your intent, no matter how many homes you own? Are you stating that you believe that it's illegal for them to work somewhere else or live somewhere else, no matter how many nights they spend here? The statutes speak about the intent, and I read that in the beginning of where they make their permanent home. What are you stating that is not their intent?
I'm stating basically that their home is in Matthews, North Carolina. That is their domicile. This is just one of their homes.
I know there's three.
This is a vacation home. Our Lake Santeetlah has many homeowners. The majority of them, this is a second home. Their home at Lake Santeetlah is a second home.
So you're saying you don't think it's their intent to live there? You think that their intent is to make their home in Matthews?
I believe that their home is in Matthews. I believe that she changed her registration so she could run for office. Is what I personally believe.
You believe that when she went to run for office, I think she was writing, I don't think she ever was a candidate on the ballot.
No, she never
But
registered.
anyways, did you not think that it could have been her intent to live there anyway if she was elected to office or voted into office or not?
I don't believe it was her intent to live there.
Does the board have any other questions? How do you, so Mr. Norton, wait a second, I apologize.
How do you verify that they are not at home if you don't go on their property?
I'm on the street, I'm on public property. I can see their house, I can see their
Correct,
cars.
but you don't know who is inside the house.
I do not know if there's anybody in the house. I went by the other Monday night, there were no lights on. There were no cars other than the Suburban. And that was at 9:30, I came back from the Southwestern Commission meeting.
With it being during the day was how I was wondering when you said you took pictures, you know, during most of the time or all the time in the daylight, which all these are. I just,
Sometimes my town hall staff has mentioned, oh, Tina's in Florida, Tina's in Guatemala. So I do know. And when she is zoomed from Lake Santeetlah, you know what her space, where she's zooming from. And when she zooms from Matthews, you know her background, that is her office. When she zooms from Florida, I know that is the Florida house because I knew she was in Florida.
With the water bills and stuff, that all the water bills have, because the water bills that were in the exhibit all had usage in them. So that to me would indicate that they were there to be able to use the water. Did all the water bills you have usage for those months?
There is consumption and our water bills are for 3 months.
Okay. So it looks like they've been there at some point during everything that she pulled up?
Yeah, they're there sometimes for 4 days, sometimes for 2 weeks.
Okay, did any of the water bills you brought up overlap with the pictures that you've taken where you're saying that they're not at home during this time? They did? So, you realize that if they're using water, they actually were home. That would sort of contradict some of the pictures.
The point is that they're not using very much water.
Yeah, but it would still prove that they were there, or someone's
Yes.
there using water. So
There
some of
is
these pictures.
there's a base,
Yeah.
but then there's a consumption.
Okay, so that one's sort of not, some of the pictures are the water mainly. No, because if they're using waters, if you're using pictures to prove they weren't there, but someone's using water, it means at some point, maybe not when the picture was taken, but at some point they were there and using the water.
On the days that I did not take a picture, they probably may have been there and used water. But as we saw, the garbage can for almost 2 months had not been used.
Madam Chair, now the time for me to do some more redirect.
I'll allow, I just want to be sure the rest of the board is getting any questions that they have. Really looking at something, I think, for questions these guys.
I'm just curious about one thing. In the law, it says their intent. How can you say what their intent is?
I do not know what their intent is.
I mean, the law, it says your intent to make this your domicile, your home. And I keep coming back to, as many people, their intents are different. So, I mean,
Well, supposedly she lived here for 30 days before the election. I don't know if she was here 30 days for election, but I do know she registered to vote September 8th, and then she was in Florida to buy a property in October, early October. Our November election was on the 2nd. She was in Florida.
really what it has to do. I mean, I guess the question is, what's the business? I mean, people do business transactions outside of Graham County every day.
That's not a question.
I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. Because
I think you're trying to ask her, is it her belief that lived there meant for 30 days before?
Yes,
that
thank
she
you.
did not get the legal
Thank you. You got that. You nailed it.
Right there.
you nailed it. Thank you.
That's what he's trying to ask you, Ms. Santeetlah.
30 days before the November election, I do not know if she was in residence. I did not even know that she intended to run for office.
Thank you. That answered my question.
Bill, did you have what you wanted to ask her?
Some of the garbage can pictures, you state that the garbage hadn't been taken off, but it looks like the bags are different.
And
The liner length has changed some of what he's talking about.
Okay, well, she was there January 6th. She was there again on January 11th. I know Jim Hager was taking pictures while I was out of town. Got it indicated that perhaps she was there on the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th of January. So sometime while I was not here, Tina or John Emerson may
Does the board have any other questions? You can go ahead and redirect, Mr. Norris.
I want to pick up where the board left off, which was in this count. Okay. Your testimony is that you don't believe that Tina Emerson intends for this to be her residence as defined by statute, correct?
Yeah.
And you base that opinion upon how little she's at the property, correct?
Part of that,
And you also base that on some of the language in the documents that have been presented so far?
yes.
Okay, so for example, you draw that intent from representations that Ms. Emerson has made to either banking entities or to in statements that are in her deeds and deeds of trust? Let me throw one of those up there for you.
I know that their home in Matthews is a very large home, a very nice home. And it looks like a very comfortable home to live in. I know that when they come to visit at Lake Santeetlah, usually John drives the Suburban so they can bring their dogs to town with them.
Okay. I want to present something specifically. You had talked about finding the deed of trust of Matthew's property. This is Exhibit 242. I'm going to read from this. Let me know if I read this correctly. This is a covenant that's in that deed of trust that's signed by Mr. and Mrs. Emerson, correct?
Miss Matthews property?
Correct. This is Exhibit 242. In that deed of trust, they're committing to their bank says borrower. Those are the Emersons, correct? I can throw that up if the board would like to see how that's defined. Borrower, John Emerson and Tina Emerson. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 242, 6.6. In that, it says, borrower shall occupy and establish and use the property as borrower's principal residence within 60 days after the execution of this security instrument shall continue to occupy the property as borrower's principal residence. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Do you find anything in writing that shows that they secured a written exception from their lender for that occupancy requirement?
No.
So again, they have promised to their borrower in this document for the Matthews property that that will be their principal residence. Is that partly what you base your opinion of their intent to make that their home?
Yes.
Okay. One of the other things you talked about was looking at the Santeetlah property documentation. This is Exhibit 111. Emerson's are purchasing this in 2014, correct?
Yes.
In that document, where did they list their residence as? On the document purchasing the Santeetlah property.
641 Warren Park Lane, Matthews, North Carolina.
On a deed of trust for that property in 2017. You want to pop this up. This is Exhibit 1.6.1. Borrowers are John and Tina Emerson, correct?
Yes.
This is for the Santeetlah property specifically, correct?
Yes.
In that document, does it include a second home rider in that document?
Yes, it does.
I'm going to read through this document. It says, second home rider is made, and this is in April 28th of 2017, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to zoom in on a couple portions of this. First is, that's the address they claim they reside at now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's look at what they promised their lender there. Borrower shall occupy and shall only use the property as borrower's second home. borrower shall keep the property available for borrower's exclusive use and enjoyment at all times. Did I read that correctly?
Yes,
Section 8 there. Borrower shall be in default if during the loan application process, borrower or any person or entity acting on their accurate direction, I'm going to skip forward here, gave materially false, misleading, or inaccurate information statements to the lender in connection with the loan. Material representations include, but are not limited to, representations concerning borrower's occupancy of the property as borrower's second home. So in this document, they not only promised their lender that it would be their second home, they promised that if they materially represented that during the application process, they would be in default. Is that what you base your opinion of intent on as well?
yes.
Now, I want to focus on something for just a second here. This date is 4/28/2017, correct?
Yes,
Okay, 2017. We looked at Ms. Emerson's voter history earlier, didn't we?
yes.
In what year did she first change her voter registration from Mecklenburg County
It
to
was
Graham
in
County?
2017 to vote in the November municipal election.
So in the 2017, and I'll just put them up there for both. Give me just a second, here so the board can see both side by side.
I object. We're talking about the voter registration for now. We are not talking about the voter registration in 2017. Diane had an opportunity at that time to object to a voter registration, which she did not.
I thought maybe you heard, Madam Chair.
Overruled. Go ahead.
On the left, we see her voter history where she changes her voter registration from Mecklenburg to Graham in 2017. On the right is the second home rider where in the exact same year she represents, perhaps misrepresents to her lender, that she will only use the Santeetlah property as her second home. Is that what those two documents show?
Yes,
And is that a basis for why you don't believe she has the intent to make her residency in Lake Santeetlah and Graham County, correct?
that is correct.
Her own words, signed by her underneath in a legal document, making promises to her bank, correct?
Correct.
A couple other things I just want to get on. In those pictures you took, it indicated Ms. Emerson she drives the white Volvo, I believe you said.
Yes,
Okay, and I believe you said Mr. Emerson drives a black SUV.
a Suburban.
Suburban. Those vehicles are not on the property at any time you took pictures, correct?
No.
Okay, so there's,
Well, not for what I've taken a picture.
for what you presented to the board today. Okay, so to be clear, you didn't ignore their other vehicles, they weren't there, correct?
Correct.
You were also asked, I think by Ms. Emerson, why you only filed 8 challenges compared to 11. Was that decision made in part based on the evidence that you were able to collect against those 8 individuals?
Yes,
I heard from your testimony that you have to pass the Emerson's house in order to get to yours in Lake Santeetlah. Is that correct?
on Thunderbird Trail.
On Thunderbird Trail. So again, you have to go in and go past in order to get back to your house, correct?
Yes,
So anytime you leave the house, in order for you to get back to your house, you've got to go by the Emersons.
yes,
Okay. So anytime you pass the house, come back, you would see whether there were cars in the driveway, correct?
yes. And I'm pretty obsessive about that right now.
You were also asked, Ms. Eller, I think, asked you about how do you know if anybody's in the home. I want to be clear, none of those pictures were at night, correct? They were during the day.
Yes,
Okay. there were no vehicles that would have shown me that anyone came to the house other than the SUV that's always parked there, correct?
Correct.
So unless someone walked to Lake Santeetlah, I guess took a taxi, they're going to have to drive to get into that house, right?
Yes,
So when you took those pictures and your testimony is that no one was there because there were no vehicles in the driveway that would indicate that anyone was in the house, correct?
correct.
You were asked about, I think Ms. Emerson asked you about selected pictures. I want to be clear with this for the board. You're not saying they've never been in town, right?
Correct.
You're saying that on the picture dates you provided, they were not at the lake house, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you've identified dates when they were in town, correct?
Yes,
And you offer that testimony for the purposes of suggesting that, again, I think I'd asked you this question before, they're spending less than 50% of their time in town, correct?
correct.
And that, again, does that lead to your conclusion that they don't intend to make that their domicile?
Yes,
They're not spending time there, correct?
correct.
They're indicating on tax documents that they want them sent to an address in Matthews, correct?
Correct.
Promising to the lender that they'll make that Matthews address their principal residence, correct?
Correct.
They're representing in other documents to lenders that they will only make the Santeetlah property their second home, correct?
Correct.
These are all pieces of evidence that point to them not having an intent to make this their domicile, correct?
Correct.
Those are my questions for you.
Ms. Emerson?
Yes, may I just ask a few questions, please?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Diane, earlier you stated that you don't know our intent, but then when Mr. Noor asked you if you knew our intent, you stated that you did. Do you know our intent or not, and how would you know our intent?
I do not know your personal intent. I just understand that you do not live in Lake Santeetlah.
Can you tell me where in the North Carolina General Statutes it states how many hours, days, or weeks someone is required to physically be at that house to register to vote?
No,
No, you can't tell me? Or no, there's no answer. You don't know the
I
statute?
don't have the statute in front of me.
Would you be surprised that there is no statute that says that you have to be at your house a certain number of days, hours, or weeks? I'll take that as a yes, you would be surprised. On Exhibit 242.1, which is a deed of our house that we, I believe it's a refinance. Could you tell me the date that is stamped by the Register of Deeds on that
And
deed of
which
trust?
of your four houses are you referring to?
It's your Exhibit 242.1. Mr. Moore, could you help her, please? Okay. I believe that, I'll help you, Diane, if it's okay. I believe it says December 20th, 2011. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know what year we bought our house here in Lake Santeetlah?
It was in 2014.
Okay, so this deed is dated 3 years before that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know where we were registered to vote in 2014?
I believe it's Mecklenburg.
Okay. In April 28th of 2017, You showed an exhibit for, I believe, a mortgage or a deed of trust. And you stated that we changed our vote in November of 2017. Do you know if anyone is allowed to change their
I only
address?
said you changed your vote. I don't believe John did.
Okay, then that's fine, because we're only talking about me. Do you know if I'm allowed to change my mind? Am I allowed to physically change my mind, that I can move from place to place?
Yes, please change your mind.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, one more question. What street do you live on?
Black Bear Court.
When you go to your house, do you have to physically pass my house, continuing past my house on Santeetlah Trail to get to your house?
I drive on Thunderbird. It goes past your house.
It looks down on my house,
Yes,
but it's not past my house on my street. You don't drive my street to get to your house.
your street is a dead end and it does not go to my house.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, thank you.
I can see your house from Thunderbird.
Does the board have any other questions? Are you ready? Call your next witness, Mr. Noah.
This time we call Jim Hager.
Mr. Hager, do you swear, Jim Hager, or affirm the testimony, your statement, and information you shall give this hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
Go ahead, Mr. Noah.
Mr. Hager, I think you mentioned to me that you have some back issues that might make it more easy for you to sit while giving the testimony, if that's all right.
Perfectly fine. Please look at the chair there.
Can you give your full name to the court reporter, Mr. Hager?
James Dalton Hager,
Mr. Hager, where do you reside?
69 Cherry Lane, Lexington, North Carolina.
And how long have you resided there?
7 years.
Okay. How many people live with you there?
Just my wife and myself.
Are you retired at this point?
I am retired.
What did you do before you were retired?
Worked in Louisville, Kentucky, where in 1977 I was appointed as a probation control officer, sworn officer,
How long did you serve as a law enforcement officer?
22 years.
Were you in that service under honorable circumstances?
Yes, sir.
How many times have you testified before either a board or a court?
Probably 100.
And are you involved in, or do you have any role with the town of Lake Santeetlah?
I served as mayor for 6 years and I'm still on council.
Okay. And how did you get involved with this challenge being filed?
Well, as soon as I got the election results from November the 2nd last year, there were 67 write-in votes, which accounted for 52% of all the votes cast in that election. And I compared that to all the other elections that were held in the state of North Carolina. And our percentage of write-in votes was by far the most of any other election.
Since from that, so you were concerned about the result of the election. Is that fair?
That is correct.
What did you look into who had voted or registered to vote in that election?
And we finally got the results of who actually voted.
And were you surprised to see any of the names on that registration list?
Yes,
Was Ms. Emerson surprising to see?
yes.
Why?
Because she's not domiciled in the town of extent it.
Let's talk about why you feel that's the case, why you believe she's not a resident there. Did you take photos documenting when Ms. Emerson was at the home she claims to reside at?
I took pictures of when she was not in resident.
Okay. Did you tend to take those pictures when Ms. Simon was out of town?
Yes.
Or unavailable?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you, start presenting what is marked as Exhibit 78.1. Is this a photo you took?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Of the lighthouse where the Emerson claim to reside? Is that fair and accurate representation of that?
Yes, it is.
Is that from January 14th of this year?
Yes, it is.
Okay. You see the permanent suburban there, correct?
Yes.
And were the Emersons there that day?
Not that I can tell.
And similar to the questions I asked Ms. Simon, did you just take this at one time of day? Did you take it at different times of day, depending?
Generally, I took them from early morning to early afternoon.
Okay. And when you say that they weren't there, you don't just mean literally when you took this photo. You mean you didn't see them there during any part of the entire day for which you have a photo, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm going to show 79.1. Is this from January 17th?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you see any footprints or other steps in the two areas that are marked in blue on this exhibit?
No, I did not.
Has the windshield wiper been cleaned off for the Suburban that day?
No, sir.
Did you see the Emersons on the property there anytime that day?
No, I did not.
80.1, next day, that windshield still covered in snow?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
This is from January 18th, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the Emersons there at the home anytime that day?
No, sir.
You took this photo?
Yes.
Exhibit 81.1, photo you took, correct?
Yes, it is.
This is from January 19th.
Yes.
Emersons weren't there that day either.
No, they weren't.
Vehicles in the same location.
Yes.
Exhibit 82.1, see this is from I think the last one was January 19th. This one here is from the 21st. Did you see anyone on the property that day?
No, sir.
Vehicle's not present in that one.
Not at that location.
Okay. Did you see anything else that day that would have indicated that they were present at the house?
No, I did not.
Okay. Exhibit 83. This is from January 24th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything that indicated the Emersons were there that day?
No, I did not.
Exhibit 84. This is from January 31st, correct?
Yes, sir.
In that red circled area, you see footprints on the deck leading up to the home?
Did not.
Is there anything that indicated to you that they were at that location on the 31st?
No, there's not.
You took this photo as well?
Yes.
This is from February 1st, Exhibit 85, correct?
Yes, sir.
You see the vehicle there, correct?
I see. Yes, sir.
Did you see anything that indicated that the Emersons were there that day?
No, sir.
Exhibit 86.1, this is from February 6th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Vehicles parked in substantially the same location as the previous day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that what that red circle indicates, proximity to that sign?
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything that showed that the Emersons were there that day?
No, sir.
Exhibit 87.1, this is from February 7th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything there that day that indicated that the Emersons were at the
None.
lighthouse? Exhibit 88, this is from February 8th. Vehicles in substantially the same location as it was back on the 2nd, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything that indicated that the Emersons were there that day?
None.
Exhibit 89, this is from February 9th. Vehicle in substantially the same location as the 2nd.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything to indicate that the Emersons were there that day?
No, sir.
You didn't observe anything. Exhibit 90, this is from February 10th. You see anything that day that indicated that the Emersons were there?
No, sir.
Vehicles in substantially the same location?
Yes, sir.
Exhibit 91, this seems like it's a little bit of a shift here. This is from, again, I think your last photo was from February 10th. This one is February 27th. Did you see anything that day that indicated that the Emersons were there?
No, sir.
Exhibit 92, this is from March 13th. This is a photo you took, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you saw at the residence or related vehicles that indicated the Emersons had been there that day?
Yes, sir.
Is the windshield on the car covered or free of what appears to be snow or ice?
Yes, sir.
Partially covered.
Partially.
Exhibit 93, this is from March 28th. Is there anything you saw that day that indicated that the Emersons were at the lake house?
No, sir.
Exhibit 94, from March 29th, correct?
Yes, sir.
And vehicles in virtually the same location. Did you see anything that day that indicated that they were there?
Yes, sir.
Exhibit 95, that's from March 30th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see anything that indicated they were there that day?
Yes, sir.
Exhibit 96, it's from March 31st. Did you see anything that indicated that they were there that day?
No, sir.
Exhibit 97, it's from April 3rd. Did you see anything that indicated that they were at the lake house that day?
No, sir.
Exhibit 98, from April 10th. Did you observe anything that indicated they were at the house that day?
No, sir.
Exhibit 99, it's from April 12th. Is there anything that led you to believe that they were at the house on that day that you took the photo?
No, sir.
Didn't see them any other time
No, sir.
on that day? Exhibit 100, this is from April 13th. It's a little bit harder here in the upper portion of this. Again, another photo you took.
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything that indicated that they were there that day?
No.
Exhibit 101 is from April 14th. Anything that indicated they'd been there that day?
No, sir.
Exhibit 102 is from the 15th of April. Did you see anything that indicated the Emersons had been there that day?
No, sir.
April 20th. Did you see anything that indicated they'd been on the property or were there that day?
No, sir.
Exhibit 103. Exhibit 104, this is dated from May 1st. Did you see anything that indicated they'd been there that day?
No.
Exhibit 105 is from May 3rd. Same thing here, nothing.
No.
They weren't at the property.
No.
Exhibit 106, dated May 6th. Is there anything that indicated they'd been on the property that day?
No, sir.
Madam Chair, I'll ask a couple more questions. Those exhibits, Jim, that we just talked about, 78 through 106, you personally took those?
Yes, I did.
Kind of fair and accurate representations of the view you were looking down at the house of on those days?
Yes, I did.
On each of those days, is it your testimony that they were not at the lake house?
That's my testimony.
Okay. Madam Chair, we ask that that be admitted into the record. Jim, I'll ask you a few other things here. One of the things that we saw in the case that was presented to the board at the beginning was the types of evidence the board should look at to determine whether someone is domiciled in a particular location. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And some of that evidence that the court said the board should look at included where they go shopping, where they go to dinner, what their utility bills say, things like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. When you're in Robbinsville, how often do you see the Emersons at any of the places you frequent?
I have never seen the Emersons outside of the town except in,
You don't see them in the grocery store?
I go to the grocery store every day just about.
Okay. Never seen them there. A couple more questions here. Like Ms. Simon, I'm going to show you a couple documents here. This is exhibit 212. Is this your water bill from essentially the time period of 9/27, 2021 through December of last year?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Your water usage here at 13,856.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many people are living in your house with you?
Just my wife and myself.
Okay. And do you have a Airbnb or anything like that going on in your house? Okay. Are you leasing it to other people to be there? Okay. During this time period, did you have a lot of guests staying at your house or anything like that that would alter the usage of your water?
We usually have someone that spend the weekend with us, maybe once every 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. Typically, just normal usage during this time period, correct? I'm showing you the mark this exhibit 214. This is your bill from March of this year through June of this year. I actually went a little out of order, so I'll follow it. I'm going to go back to exhibit 211. This is from the same time period, June of 21 through September of 21. Your usage, this is your water bill, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shows your usage at 13,748, correct?
Yes.
And like I asked you about the previous bill, nothing out of the ordinary, just your standard usage?
For us, it's pretty consistent.
Okay. And then exhibit 212 was the December one that we talked about. You've already testified about. 213, is this your bill from December of last year to March of this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your usage 11,998.
Yes, sir.
And exhibit 214, is this your bill from March of this year through June of this year?
I believe so.
I can zoom in if that would be helpful to you.
Yes, sir.
Your usage there is 9,303 for that quarter, correct?
Yes, sir.
Again, just to sort of contextualize this, in this top corner here, or the top middle of the screen, it says Hager usage. Those are the usages we just went over for September, December, March, and June bills, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your average usage is roughly 12,226.
Correct.
Yeah. Were you here to listen to the testimony Ms. Simon gave about her usage?
Yes, sir.
And did you see the bills that were produced by the town of Lake Santeetlah related to Emerson usage?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So again, even compared to your usage, they're using 94% less water than the two people living in your house.
I agree.
You noted that you were also on the town council. Did you also observe, Ms. Simon had testified about observing Ms. Emerson attending from places outside of Lake Santeetlah. Did you hear that testimony?
I did.
Okay. Was that also your experience when you participated in those meetings?
Yes.
So roughly I think it was 10 meetings that were done by Zoom during that time period. She attended via Zoom from a location other than town.
She attended several meetings, I Zoom, somewhere other than.
That's based on her saying that in the meetings? Sometimes.
I mean, one, two meetings, she said, say she was in Florida. Other meetings, you can tell from the pictures, it wasn't anything that relates to the house.
Those are my questions for Mr. Hager.
Excuse me one moment. Did you want those utility bills entered as exhibits?
I was going to clean all that, yes, if we could admit 211 through 214, Madam Chair.
Admitted.
Okay. Let me just go back and make sure I'm not missing any other admissions before I finish up. I believe those were all of these. I think I'd asked for all of the other exhibits to be admitted.
I think you did. The attorney's trying to keep up with anything. Okay?
Well, we're both working hard at it, won't we? Leave it to us.
Please, just want to keep it all legally.
Okay. Those are my questions for Mr. Hager.
Ms. Emerson, you have the next cross.
Is that okay? Jim, do you know how many times I've moved?
How many times you've moved?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Do you know what my intent is?
I think there's a misinterpretation of intent.
Do you know what my intent is as far as residency? If I intend to go, I intend to return.
My understanding of intent to return is for people whose job takes them out of jurisdiction for a period of time. For college students who go away to college and intend to return, or people like myself who spent 13 months in Korea in the military. My intent was to return, but before you return, you have to determine the domicile. You have to establish domicile before you can intend to return.
So you do not know my intent. You had an intent that you stated, but you don't know my intent. That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about wreaths across America, where Christmas wreaths are placed in Arlington Cemetery and other national cemeteries?
Yes, I have.
Do you know that the wreaths are removed by volunteers, family members usually of those buried there,
I don't know that specifically, but I don't doubt that.
and that the wreaths are removed in mid-January?
I don't know when they're removed.
Specifically, did you know that John and I were removing wreaths from Arlington Cemetery in sub-freezing weather when you were taking pictures of our home in January?
I would have no idea where.
Mr. Noor repeated when he was showing pictures of our house and our truck that this picture was taken on that day or this day or that day. Did you take any pictures of our house at night?
No, I did not.
Do you have any proof or any receipts to show like these that you shop at Ingles, A4, or the local restaurant?
I don't keep my receipts.
Did you notice on your pictures from Exhibit 80 onward that the truck is sometimes backed in, the Suburban is sometimes pulled in, and in a few pictures that the Suburban is not in the picture?
That's correct.
Okay. Jim, what is the square footage of your home, thereabouts?
22 to 2,600 somewhere.
Did you know that our home is less than 1,000 square feet?
I did not know the size.
Do you know how many bathrooms we have? Do you know that we have water saver devices on our shower, and we have a low flow sole toilet, which lowers our water usage?
So do I.
Okay. That's all I have, thank you.
Just a
Board have any questions? Mr. Hager? Board have any questions for Mr. Hager? Steve? If the board has no further questions, Mr. Hager, Mr. Noor, do you want to read?
Just a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hager, you were asked about intent. Yeah, I think everybody is focusing on the right thing. What is intent? Were you at the beginning where we were sharing cases about how the board should look and the evidence they should look at to determine intent that's provided by the Court of Appeals? Fred, did you see as part of that? This was a highlighted portion of that. I'm going to read the blue part. It's Farnsworth case. Although a person's testimony regarding his or her intent regarding the acquisition of the new domicile is competent evidence, it is not conclusive. You must consider the evidence of all the surrounding circumstances and the conduct of the person in determining whether he or she has effectuated a change in domicile. Did I read that correctly? So when you were asked about intent, I don't want to mischaracterize it, so please give your answer. When you said that there was a mistake or misunderstanding about intent, were you saying that essentially the Emersons had not taken the steps to actually establish domicile versus just saying it? That's your opinion based on the evidence you've seen and the pictures you took? Essentially, they say they've done it. They've not done anything that would corroborate that. That's fine. A couple questions.
Ms. Emerson, can you read the record? Recross, sorry.
Sorry, yes, I just have a question. Jim, could you please point out where in 163-57, which is the statute on residence defined for registration and voting, where it says specifically the word domicile?
I'm not familiar with the statute.
Do you want to look at it or no? No. Okay, thank you very much.
Is that it? The board, have an opportunity to move again. Any questions from the board?
Another witness. Call this
Call her next week.
At this point, I'm going to call Susan Robinson.
Can you hear me okay?
I think, Ms. Robinson, you told me that you've got some laryngitis or something that's really...
Let me tell you, is there any way we can get that mic to working? Because I don't think it's working.
I don't even think it's on, yeah.
See if that's cut
See if
out.
that magic button
There's
is
a
on.
way to cut that out.
Sorry.
That's
Mr.
okay.
North, just bring me that statute back. Mr. North, would you bring me the board book back up to the mic? Or what?
Ma'am, go ahead, please speak.
Just test it out.
Okay. Check, can you hear me okay? It's not very good. I apologize. That's why I'm wearing a mask.
Can you hear her?
I do not hear that last statement.
I'll speak slowly.
Okay.
Turn that mic back down towards you.
Okay, how's that?
Much better.
Better.
I'll just speak slowly, and I do apologize.
Good afternoon, Ms. Robinson.
Let me hear under oath first. One second. Do you swear or affirm, Susan Robinson, that the testimony, your statement, and information you shall give in this hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Ms. Robinson. Can you give your full name for the record, please?
My name is Susan Jennifer Robinson.
Ms. Robinson, where do you reside?
I reside in Atlanta, Georgia.
Do you own a second home in the town of Lake Santeetlah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where is that home in proximity to the Emerson's lake house?
I own a home on Santeetlah Trail, and the last house as you go toward Chilla Point swimming area. And that's that little cove that has all those little houses. Some people call it the ghetto. And I'm in that. I know someone called that, so that's what I mean.
Well, we won't call that today, but can you see the Emerson's lake house from your lake house?
Yes, I can. I can see a lot of neighbors from my lake house.
Is yours essentially kind of across the cove from the Emerson?
Right, they're a little further into the cove, but yes, we're sort of across from each other.
Okay. Do you have any security cameras on your home?
Yes, I do. I have security cameras, 5 of them on the home.
And where are those located on the house?
Okay, 2 of them look at the entrances to the house, and 3 of them look at the cove. One of them looks out the cove, one of them looks across, and one of them looks into the back of the cove.
And why do you have those cameras?
You know how it is up here. Strange things can happen. So one day I try to keep track of whether trees down. I don't worry too much about security, but for example, this winter, one day the bench was on my dock and the next day it wasn't on the dock. And so I was able to see that it flew off and I got someone to retrieve it. So it's just important to look every day because of the weather up here.
And can you view those images from your home in Atlanta?
Yes, actually I do look at them on my cell phone and sometimes I put them on my computer.
Are you notified when something sort of triggers one of them or anything like that?
No, at the moment I don't have those settings done.
Okay. So you have this system set up. Does one of the cameras, can you see the Emerson's home in that field of view?
Yes, it just happens to catch it and both of those cameras are wide angle cameras and it happens to catch it. They are HD cameras and I do have 100 to 200 megabyte streams there.
Okay. Does it capture other homes as well?
Yeah, it captures between the cameras. I see lots of people in the cove.
And you can zoom in on that camera, zoom out? You have that
You
function?
can use your fingers to open up the thing. It's rather interesting. Sometimes I do it because I'm interested in how those cameras perform.
Okay. And do those cameras keep those images though?
I usually have about a week's worth of images, more or less. So no, I don't really keep a huge amount of those images.
Okay. You've been here throughout the day, correct?
Yes, I have.
And you heard the testimony of Ms. Simon as well as Mr. Hager?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Based on and I think you said you review them daily?
I do, actually. I typically look at the cameras in the morning, about 9:30 or 10. I'll look in the afternoon, 2 or 3, just because I miss the place. Actually, I like to look at the lake. And then I try to catch the sunset, and that would go between like 6 and 8.
Okay.
Ms. Robinson, excuse me, if you don't mind, keep your mouth towards the mic. You keep turning your head, it's cutting out, and some of it's not down
my
to hearing well.
apologies.
And Susan, I think that pulls off, so maybe you just hold
Yeah,
it.
you can carry it with you.
Do a little show.
All right, so in the morning from around 9:30, 10, and then I'll look in the afternoon at 2 o'clock, 2 to 3, and then I try to catch the sunset, and that can run from 5, or 6 to 8, depending on the time of the year.
Okay, so sometimes you look at it in the morning, you start looking in the afternoon, and sometimes you see in the evening after the sun is set or around the time that it is setting. Is that fair?
Yeah, generally most every day.
Okay. And as part of that, you heard the testimony of Ms. Simon and Mr. Hager about the frequency in which the Emersons are at their lake house. Is that testimony consistent with what you have observed when you've looked in your cameras and seen whether they were present at the property or not?
If I'm interpreting, if I'm interpreting that to say that they're not there a lot,
Correct.
okay, yeah, I don't see them there a lot when I'm looking. I don't focus on their property per se, but I don't see activity there.
Okay.
And because I'm looking at a number of houses, I kind of do do see whether people are there or not, or if there's renters or kids in the cove, you know, so you see activity.
Okay, so activity like, you're not seeing the cars there.
Oh, for sure, yeah, I just see the Suburban there a lot.
Okay. You're not seeing lights on in the house at times where, that's what you mean by activity too, correct?
Yes, they do keep some lights on in the evening, which we often do, but it seems when they're there, they have more lights on. They might have some dock lights and things like that.
And you're not on town council with Ms. Emerson or Mr. Hager or Diana
Oh,
Simon.
no, I live in Atlanta, I can't be on town council.
And you're registered to vote where?
In DeKalb County,
Down in Atlanta.
correct.
Okay. This is a second home for you, correct?
Yes, it is.
Those are my questions, Ms. Robinson.
Ms. Emerson?
Hey,
Just a couple of questions. When are you usually at your Lake Santeetlah home?
well, I haven't been there a lot this year, 'cause I've been helping my mom. But so I would say, gosh, maybe twice a month, but yeah, exactly. I'm not there a lot. That's why I like to look at those cameras, make sure everything's okay.
Okay. Is your security camera also facing like your driveway or Nantahala? Like
Yeah.
the back of your
Yeah,
house?
one of them does, yes.
Okay. And has your security camera picked up John or I or both of us walking past your house with the dog to the campground?
You know, I catch people walking, but again, I'm not like looking at this 24/7, do you know what I mean? I could, if I wanted to go looking through every time a motion was triggered, I might see that.
Okay. So there's times that we could be there walking the dog that you just wouldn't pick up on your camera.
On that back camera, yes, certainly.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Board, questions for Ms. Robinson?
Any questions for
Thank you so much, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, I'm gonna.
Thank you very much.
Let's take a 10-minute recess.